Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is the next video about Maven, and today we will take a look at Maven Lifecycle, phases, goals, plugins and profiles. After watching this video and previous video about Maven on my channel, you will be able to answer on almost every question about Maven on Java interview. Okay, let's start. Maven Lifecycle. It's just a sequence of phases. It means that lifecycle consists of phases that are executed one after another sequentially. And there are only 3 lifecycles in the Maven. The first lifecycle is the site. The result of this would be a ready website with information about our project. Next, it's a clean. It just removes target folder from root directory. Default, it's a main Maven lifecycle which consists of more than 20 phases. Let me show you it in IntelliJ. Here I have a simple Maven Java project. Let's open pom.xml file. And I want to show you how to run lifecycles. For example, we can run Maven site lifecycle. All we need to do is to print mvn site and wait. We see that the build success, so we can refresh our project structure and see in the target folder, the folder with name site. In here we have website about our project. We can open it in the browser and see every information about our project, like for example dependency information. It's information to implement our project into another project. Which dependencies does it use? For example, GUnit, Hamcrest, and summary. Here we can see name, description, homepage. From tags in pom.xml file, name, description, and URL, Maven Basics project, Maven Basics project. Also here we see the group ID, artifact ID, version, type of packaging, and Java version. Another lifecycle, it's clean. To start it, we need to print mvn clean. As we see build success, and if we refresh our project structure, we see that target folder removed from our project. Also, we can use the Maven toolbar to run these lifecycles and phases. For example, here we have clean and site lifecycles. Other phases like validate, compile, test, packaging and other are related to default lifecycle, at which we will take a closer look. Also note that we can run multiple lifecycles in one command by writing, for example, like this: clean site. Also we can print Maven clean package. Package is a phase of default lifecycle. And we see that here we have a target directory with our compiled classes, packaged.jar file, test reports and other information. Now let's take a look at default lifecycle and its phases. At first, what is a phase? Phase is a step of a lifecycle. Phase may consist of 0 or more goals. Here you can see most important phases of default lifecycle. First is compile. On this phase, the Maven compiles source code of your project. It evaluates all files with .java extension to files with .class extension, which can be executed by JVM, and put these files to target folder. Test compile. It is the same as compile, just do it for tests folder. Next, tests. It runs tests. Package packs compiled project files into executable jar var er file. Install puts an executable file to local repository from where it can be imported by local projects. And deploy copies an executable file to the remote repository for sharing with other developers. These phases are consecutive. When you run, for example, the package phase, such phases like compile, and test will be executed in advance. Note that you can skip some phases. For example, to skip test phase, you need to specify a property, which I want to show you in the IntelliJ IDEA. Nvn package -d maven test skip equal true. Let's run it. And as we see, tests are skipped. Another way to define this property is to write nvn package -d skip tests. It's a special alias. Next, what is the goal? It is a unit of work. In most cases, goals are linked to phases. Also, every goal is running with specified plugin. For instance, the compiler plugin runs goals, compile and test compile. Let me show you example of goals. The first word before colon is the name of a plugin which is used to run this goal. It's possible to run goals separately from lifecycle and phases. We just need to write a command with defined plugin. Let me show it to you in IntelliJ IDEA. Nvn compiler compile. As we see, the compile goal were run and there are no any other goals, which would be if you run it with printing the phase. For example, nvn compile. You see that before the compile were resources phase started. Next, let's take a look at plugins. Plugin, it is a Java class assembled in a special way which runs goals. Every plugin contains its own goals which can be executed with only this plugin. There are lots of plugins exist for the Maven, almost for every task you can think of. Let's take a look at the official Maven plugins page. Here you can see a bunch of plugins and can read what does they do and what goals they have. For example, let's take a look at the core plugins. It's clean, compiler, deploy. We can see here the description of every plugin. For example, Surefire plugin, which run the JUnit tests in an isolated class loader. An install plugin, which install the build artifact into the local repository. Let's take a look at the page of compiler plugin. Here we can see its goals, it compile and test compile. We can go to this goal. On this page we can see lots of parameters of compile plugin. Let me show you how to configure these properties. To specify it, we need to open IntelliJ IDEA and print nvn compile -d and then print the name of the property which we can find on the page here, Maven compiler verbose. Let's paste it equal true and let's run. I forget that we need to change anything in our source code to run this command with verbose flag. Let us add something to the string and rerun our compile stage, and here we see the verbose output of the compile stage. Also, we can specify the properties for our plugins inside the pom.xml file. To do this, we need to add a special build tag inside where we add the plugins tag and the plugin. We need to specify the group ID and artifact ID for specific plugin. Also, we have to specify the version of our plugin and then the configuration. Here we specify the verbose flag in true and source and target version of Java to the 1.8. For now, if we will run our nvn compile, let's change something in source code. We will see it has verbose output. Another example, it's a configuration of a Surefire plugin which runs our test phase. For example, we can set test failure ignore in true And now, if we will break our test and run, for example, the package phase, we will see that we have failed test, but our build is success. If we will comment this property and already run the package or test phase, we will see that build failed because our tests are wrong. Let's fix it and rerun our package phase. So for now, everything is okay. Failures is 0. Sometimes necessary to have a different project and plugins configuration for building. For example, if you need to build your project on different operation system. For these purposes, the Maven has a such tool as profiles. A profile is a set of configurations which rewrites project configurations and can be applied in certain conditions. Let me show you an example of profile. In our pom.xml file, we have the tag profiles and we have two profiles. First profile is the production. Note that every profile has to have an ID tag. And then we can specify any configuration, like in familiar to us, pom.xml configuration. For example, here target directory would be replaced with production directory, which we specified in our production profile. To run task with the profile, you need to write a command mvn -p, which means profile, production package. Build success. Let's refresh the project structure, and here we see the production folder, which contains the same information as the target folder. Also, you can define here any properties. For example, we can define the configuration of our plugins, like here, just as we do in our common.xml, in our common pom.xml file, and it would work perfectly. You may have noticed that it's not quite useful to apply profile with command line. We want to do it automatically in special conditions. For these purposes, profiles has activators. In this profile, with name change file name, we have a configuration build, and we change the final name of our project on new final name. In our target directory, we have a new file name .jar file. Let me remove this target directory. So for now, if we will run the package phase and wait some time, we will have a target directory with the maven basic.jar file, which we will specify in build final name property. And for now, and with this profile, we want to change our final .jar file name. To do this, here we have an activation tag, and we can define our activators. It is the first activator, which activates our profile by default. Now let's run the package. And we see that there are another file with name new final name. There are several other activators, like property file GDK OS. Property means that it applies if some property is specified, file if special file exists, GDK if used the specified GDK version, and OS on a specific operation system. Thank you for watching this video. Today I told you everything you need to know about Maven Lifecycles, plugins and profiles. All this information may be particularly useful on a real project or job interview. In the next video, we will take a look at how to create a multi-module project with the Maven and how to manage dependencies in this multi-module project. Hope you liked this video, hit the like button, and if you want to see more, make sure you down subscribe button. Have an awesome day, I'll see you once again in the next one.